Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, some would say that Toyota and Subaru took their time when it came to developing an electric-only vehicle. But they finally did it, and we've been thrown the keys here to the Subaru Solterra all-wheel drive Touring. This is the top spec version, and we're going to have a bit of a look at it, of course. Now, before I get into that, do subscribe, do hit us up on the socials at Exhaust Notes Australia. We're going to be bringing you a lot more exciting and cool stuff, reviews on 2 and 4 wheels. Anyway, what do we think? I'm actually kind of impressed by the Solterra. I think it looks pretty cool. Of course, it looks very much like the Toyota BZ4X. It's sibling, the main difference being up the front with that diamond kind of grille. The Toyota does not have that, so depends what you like the look of. In its top spec, the Solterra rides on 20-inch wheels. It's obviously all-wheel drive with a motor on each axle, putting out 180 kilowatts and 337 newton meters of torque, all pushing that through a 71.4 kilowatt battery. Color-wise, we're not all stuck to drab grays and silvers, but of course we do have one here. This is Harbour Mist Grey Metallic, and the other colors all have that kind of futuristic kind of sound to them as well. We have Galactic Black and Cosmic Blue, I believe. There is Elemental Red if you want to stand out a little bit more. You can pay some extra and have a Galactic Black top roof. It's about a $1,200 option there, but otherwise this is how they come. You do have the black plastic front and rear guards, a bit of a design feature, some black on the bonnet as well. There is no frunk or fruit under the bonnet, and then we have a 410 litre boot, which is pretty practical. Of course, there is no spare tyre. Subaru promote that we can get this to a full charge in 30 minutes. It's up to 150 kilowatt flow. Anyway, that's the exterior. Let's have a look at the interior. Now, the second row is roomy, but there's not a lot of foot space underneath the seat in front, unfortunately. Maybe it's because of my height. I'm 182 centimeters tall. I mean, my legs are just not even really making any contact with the seat there. It's just my butt. But it is spacious in here. So, yeah, so there you go. I think with a family, small kids and that would be fine back here. It certainly is roomy enough and it's airy enough with the large panoramic glass, but taller occupants may not like to sit back here for long periods. There are rear air conditioning vents back here too, USB-C ports, and the outer seats are heated as well. The weather's certainly starting to warm up, so I'll try and reduce the fan a bit so you can still hear me. But it's one of the key things about any EV, and certainly Solterra ticks the box, is that just how quiet it is driving around. And even though we're on 20s, I don't find that the ride is too harsh. You can certainly get the smaller sized wheels on the lower grade, but it gets about town and streets fairly easily, no fuss. Now, one thing about the interior I found is that there are a lot of buttons, and it's a weird thing because often when I'm in a car that doesn't have a lot of buttons and it's all screen related, I'll complain and say, you know, hey, let's have some tactile buttons. And one of the first things when I got into this was, oh my god, there's a lot of buttons. It is actually a good thing, and it's something I've got used to, is, you know, what each of those buttons is doing. And, you know, it's just good to have. It's nice to have tactile buttons. You know where they are. You can get a feel for where things are. And, yeah, so it's all good. The steering wheel, as square as it is still very intuitive. We do have paddles behind the steering wheels which can alter the amount of brake regeneration that's applied. And there are 4 levels on the Solterra, which to me seems like a lot. You can change the amount of regen that's affected when you press this button here. And as soon as you activate that, you can feel the brake regen starting to happen. Now, it's worth noting that the Solterra does not have one pedal driving, so even if I let off the accelerator, the car will slow, but it's not going to come to a complete stop that you might be used to in other EVs. So at a stop, if you let off the brake, the car will crawl just like a normal automatic would do. So be aware of that. There is a whole bunch of other buttons down here too. You do have a drive mode selector, which cycles between a normal mode. There's a power mode for that bit of extra kick. And I believe that's exclusive to the Solterra. The Toyota sibling does not have that. And then there's an eco as well for certainly when power's on, you do get the kick in the seat as you accelerate. It's fast enough, as is with most of these sorts of cars. I believe the 0 to 100 is about 7 seconds. It's not lightning, but you know, in day-to-day conditions, you don't need that. It's still going to be quicker than most. Now, there is a parking assist feature on the car, but so far it has not helped me do a reverse parallel park. Let's try it here. Activate, start forward. Okay, so what it's done here is it's actually detected the parking spots that I'm near. Now, if I select one, okay, so now what do? And click start, release the brake. Okay, let's see what it does. It's the first time I'm using it actually. It's doing it all itself. It's indicating it's now selected reverse. And you'll notice there that it chimes in reverse. That doesn't go external. That's purely an internal chime. It's lined us up. It's got us in the spot. Okay. And it's showing off its handiwork there. There we are. We are in the spot. Nice parking, reader. Tell you what, you could have straightened the wheels though. So there you go. If you're not good at parking, the Solterra can park you into a parking space all by itself. Now, I did mention the drive modes earlier. There are also some extra modes. We have X mode, which is for your snow or dirt, and there's another one for deep snow and mud. So they're your off-road kind of settings there. You might have seen as we activated the reverse park, but you do have a 360 camera view, and you can alter how that looks via the screen. I will say that the transmission selector is quite unique. It's this little ring here. You've got a button for park, which is obviously selected, and to select drive or reverse, you have to push down on this ring and then either go to the left for reverse or to the right for drive. It's really kind of odd, and then you just push it down to engage neutral should you need to. Yeah, very different to anything else. I mean, it looks all right, but yeah, quite different. Your air conditioning is all here. There are some touchscreen buttons, but I've rarely had to use those, and the rest for your temperature and your modes, fan speed and that kind of thing are all tactile, which is nice. 12.3 inch display. It's hooked up to wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which is great. The use of material on the dash is an interesting choice. Not sure I like it 100%, but you know, with EVs it's all about that recycled materials kind of thing. Synthetic leather. The seats are quite soft, and you do have heating in the front and the outer rear seats. You miss out on ventilated seats in the Solterra compared to the Toyota BZ4X, which has ventilated front seats. Nice large glass panorama roof. Power, and let's see, it's only a 70 zone here, but let's see how we go. Woof. The boot space in the Solterra is 410 litres, which can sound a little bit small, and it certainly is when you compare to contemporaries that are either petrol or hybrid powered. But against its other competition, it's actually kind of on par. It certainly is line ball with the Volvo XC40 Recharge. Depending on the spec there, you have either 410 or 413 litres, so it's kind of the same. Tesla inflate their figures a bit, so the Model Y probably has some more, and so does the Ioniq 5. But it's a usable space back there, and you can fold the seats down. Subaru don't let us know how much space we have with the second row folded though. So, but you know, the layout of the car is very practical. It's quite spacious. It's sort of taken design cues from the RAV4, which is obviously a very popular vehicle. So if you want an electric version, that's what the BZ4X and the Solterra are kind of aiming at. Now, using a different measure, Subaru claim that you'll get about 485 Ks out of this 71.4 kilowatt battery. On a full charge, when I picked this up, we were reading more in the 370s, so I do think that might be a bit ambitious, but they were basing that on the NEDC range. There is no WLTP out there. I'm going to say that 400 is more likely what you'd be looking at. And again, that seems to just be on par with other cars of the type. We've got to mention that this dash display is very Peugeot inspired without the French European flair. The squared off steering wheel is definitely out of that, and I believe you get a circular one in the Toyota, and then you've just got the 7-inch display which sits above it, so you don't need a heads-up display or anything in this very futuristic looking plastic. It actually doesn't take that much getting used to compared to the Peugeot, and it was just really different when I got into it. It's certainly not what I expected. There's an eyesight monitor just above the steering wheel. It doesn't like you looking off for too long, but it's not too annoying in how it warns you about those things like I've found in other products. You have collision alert, blind spot monitoring, all those sorts of things that you'd expect, so everything's pretty well sorted in here. The 12.3 inch display feels like it's bigger, and it's really nicely laid out. It is slightly skewed towards the passenger, but that's okay. Everything's kind of easy to get to, and I really haven't had to use it that much. The Solterra comes with a 10-speaker Harman Kardon audio system, and it's been pretty decent. That's one speaker more than the Toyota sibling comes with. I don't know what the extra speaker is, whether it's a sub or somewhere else, but yeah, I've not had any complaints about what the Solterra's offered here. So it's worth noting that compared to its Toyota sibling, the Solterra is slightly more expensive. We're at about 83,000 drive away in the Touring, whilst the top spec BZ4X is about 80. But Subaru does throw in free servicing for 5 years, and it's covered by a Subaru warranty of 5 years as well, unlimited kilometers. The battery is covered for 8 years, up to, I believe, 160,000. We've got some of these bumpier roads now, but that's exactly why I came here. I wanted to see how she'd go on a bit of a rougher road surface. With 20-inch wheels, doesn't exactly scream environmentally aware or streamlined, and you do wonder about how they're going to handle the bumps and things if you want to go off-roading. We do have those off-roading drive modes, of course, so Subaru are at least saying that the car is capable. And you know what? I'm expecting bumps, and you can hear my little tripod rattling away perhaps in the background there, but you know what? It's not uncomfortable. It's actually alright. In fact, I wouldn't say that we're rocking too much. You can certainly feel the wheels and suspension doing their job, but... So, In the Touring all-wheel drive, both front seats feature 8-way electronic adjustability. We do have a wireless charging pad here, which is just under this large door with this weird pattern on it that I thought was kind of solar. Might have hinted that it was solar powered for something, but no, it's not. Also a USB connector in there. We have armrest, and it can move should you wish to, which will cover your cup holder pocket there. And we have an under center console storage bin as well, with a couple of USB ports, 12 volt as well. There is no glove box for whatever reason. The rear seats have three tether points for your child seats behind there, and the outer two are ISOFIX compatible as well. And as well as the heated seats, the Solterra also has a heated steering wheel. Standard Subaru menu here is quite minimal, very easy to sort of cycle through your options and things like that. But once you kind of get into your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you'll be using that for the most part. I mean, there is native maps here. It does not find you charging stations should you wish to know where they are. I guess it thinks that you probably have your own apps for that. And another thing which I know the Hyundais and Kias were doing is we do have a digital rear vision mirror, which activates a camera in the back. So if you can't really see out the back there due to people sitting behind or whatever, you can just flick that really easily, and you've got the digital display there. Really handy, really cool. So that's really all there is to say. I mean, the car is very capable, and even priced at $83,000, I did think it might have been a little expensive, but it's again on par with its competitors. It's certainly on track against the Volvo XC40 Recharge, even though the Volvo has a frunk, as does the Tesla Model Y and some of the other competitors there. I can't really fault the Solterra too much in any other way. I mean, even my wife has really liked the look of the car and was very impressed with it. It certainly looks more conventional against the competition. It doesn't look like a science project as some of the other EVs out there are. So would you consider one? Or, would you go for something else? Sound out in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope it was somewhat informative. I've certainly been surprised by it. So, yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Check out our website for all our other reviews, and hit us up on all the socials. I'll see you then. Cheers.